Hello, everyone.
Buddy, welcome. It's Thursday Cocktail Club. Here we are once again. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi.
Yay. So how's everybody doing tonight?
Doing great.
We're good. So we're here with the usual suspects. We have Chastity from Chicago.
Hey.
Hi, girl. We have Gideon joining us from San Francisco. Hey, Gideon. We have Xander coming to us from San Diego. Hello. Sailor, of course, our fantastic producer, showrunner, editor, writer. Keeps us all together.
I'm just here to help.
And we have the fabulous Jay Madison, who is our special guest today. He is one of our team members from Atlanta, Georgia.
What's up, everybody?
Jay, welcome. So, Jay, there's so many things that we have to talk to you about tonight. So you're our April calendar man, right? You are a man about town in Atlanta, which is our biggest market from what I understand, which we'll get to. You worked. You are a veteran who opened the world famous One Flew South in the Atlanta airport. We're going to have so much fun talking about that. Yeah.
I brought my luggage just in case.
When I was typing the show notes and trying to think about what we talk about, I was just like, I got like this really intense wanderlust. I was like, any airport. No, that airport.
ATL finest, baby.
Yeah. So Jay,
Texas with us, you guys.
Hi,
one of our big family. Yeah. Hey, Tex, family. What's up?
Mm-hmm.
And what's Texas' signature statement? Who wants to say it?
All gas, no brakes.
All gas, no brakes.
What's up, Roland?
So Jay, why don't we get into it so everybody can learn a little bit about your cocktail? Do you want to get us started demoing our April calendar month cocktail, the Nearest to Happiness?
Sure. So first of all, I got to put the disclaimer down. Of course, I'm in the house. I got 2 kids. And so something may happen. You may see a face pop by. You never know what's going to happen inside the Madison household. It's a lot going on. I just got home real fast from grabbing some din. So get ready. This should be fun. The Nearest to Happiness. This was kind of like, an idea. A lot of times people are intimidated and scared of whiskey. So my thought was to have something that was good, delicious, and I've always loved a nice bourbon smash. So this is kind of like my play on a bourbon smash. And this was something that worked on getting on the cocktail list at One Flew South, and we actually have a tasting menu, which is kind of one of the first things being done in a restaurant. We'll have an entire tasting menu with Uncle Nearest cocktails paired with 3 different courses. So that was awesome. So Uncle Nearest and the Nearest to Happiness was the first one on there. And so really pretty much it's just the idea of, like I said, the bourbon smash and with a little bit of collaboration and the thought of, you know how it is sometimes at the bar. It's like, okay, what are we not using that we could use to kind of hook it up and have nice cost, but still have something that's going to be nice and groovy and put up into the cocktail. And lo and behold, Lillet was beautiful because it matches, of course, the color of the blueberries. So it's a nice fortified wine, delicious, serve chilled, but in this cocktail, it's going to be even chillier. And then really just usually it's crushed ice, but the way I do it, and that's the other part about it, being in an airport bar. I mean, the fact that we're doing craft cocktails in an airport, it's ridiculous. So, I mean, a lot of times by the time I'm finished making a cocktail and going to the next person, the first person's already done. Like, hey, can I have another? It's like, dude.
Yeah.
Hey, Jay, I don't mean to let me interrupt you for just a moment. There's someone very special here that has a message for you. And she goes by the name, you may know her, of Jordan Madison.
Oh yeah! Hey, baby.
Says, hey, Daddy.
That is the firstborn. Yeah, coming to you live from Maryland, up there in Maryland. Yes. I've had her at my bar a few times because she's 25, so she can drink. You know what I'm saying? She can drink. So let me see. So we were coming up with the idea of the cocktail, and like I said, you got to do them fast. So instead of crushed ice, I just shake the crap out of it, and it looks nice with the muddled blueberries in there and all that good stuff. So I'll just start off. I already got, of course, I got a good amount of ice in there. try to throw some of those out. But so of course 1856 comes through great, of course, with the 100 proof. One of the something that's going to really kind of pack a punch, but then also too with the lemon juice and Lillet, it kind of smooths it out. So it's a really, really nice cocktail. Do about 1.5 ounces. Can't see me shaking, right?
No, you're cool.
I'm like, am I nervous? What the hell?
It is a little different. It's weird.
Right,
Everything's
yeah,
different.
it's crazy. Freaking making drinks in my house and freaking
Well,
nervous.
yeah. No, it's funny because you think about how many drinks you make in a night and how many people you talk to in the bar.
Boy.
I got more nervous doing my first class online than I did on my first bartending shift.
Yeah.
Well, so I did 1.5 ounces of Uncle Nearest, 1856. 1/2 ounce of the Lillet Rouge. 1/2 ounce of lemon juice. I think I missed it on that. There we go. And then 1/2 ounce of, well, I kind of did it out of order, but it's all good. 1/2 ounce of the simple syrup. So what I'm gonna do.
Hey Jay, can you move that bottle over just a tiny bit? Because it's perfect. Still in the shot there. That was perfect.
There we go.
It's covering up the cocktail still. Move it back over to the side. Other side. Other side. More.
It's so hard to figure out.
Perfect. I know. It's so weird.
It is.
I'm like, this way or that way?
Stage left.
Usually how I forgot. Usually how we start off, I do muddle the blueberries. So here's some nice blueberries. So quick ad. Since all this beautiful COVID stuff is going down, my wife has decided that she's going to be the super awesome gardener. And so we have blueberries growing in the back. We have some mint, and this is actually fresh mint that we have growing that she just brought inside. So
Wow.
for my garden.
Yummy.
So we got some blueberries. So I'll go ahead and muddle these babies up. Usually about 3 or 4. I'm hyper. I'm feeling good, so I put about 5 in there. What the hell?
Yeah.
For Rudy.
Let's do that. And so smack that on there.
Awesome. Big shake.
Take the crap out of it.
Now you have to battle Cody Brown with his shaking.
I know. That's some upper body strength demonstration right there.
Yeah, Jay.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, delicious. So I just pour straight into the glass is what I do.
Yeah.
Great.
The color is so beautiful
That's
on that.
so pretty.
So
Jordan says 5's your favorite number.
Yes.
It's a
so
good
still
one.
a little mint right there.
Oh my gosh.
That's to give me a little. And we smack the mint, of course, to energize it, make it. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just smell it all over the place.
Make it.
Make it.
Looks
Make
so
it happen.
good.
Gotta smack it a little bit, and I forgot to get like little sticks, but put the little sticks in here. We're gonna do it like that. Throw them right on top.
Yeah.
Bloop, bloop.
So pretty.
So pretty.
Oh, look how
I
beautiful.
love it.
Cheers, everybody. Other side next to the bottle. There you go. Perfect.
Yes,
That's beautiful.
awesome.
We'll make another one because I want to drink some more.
So Chastity has one in her hand as well. So
Oh yeah. So cheers is always drinking honorably, right?
Yeah.
There we go.
Drink honorably. Cheers.
Drink honorably, everybody.
I'm so excited. That's amazing. Chin chin.
So everyone can have access to this recipe, right? Because it's in the calendar.
If you have a calendar.
Yeah. Which would be a collector's item if you think about it someday, right?
Yes.
That was awesome, Jay.
I'm gonna make one up like really fast. So you guys see in true speed.
That's great.
We're gonna highlight you again then.
Jay, while you work on that,
My bad.
sharing a little bit with everybody. So One Flew South is the first fine dining concept in an airport in the U.S. It is the first and only to have received a James Beard nomination twice.
Woo.
That's incredible, right? Atlanta is famously known for being the busiest airport in the world and for being the place where Jay met Fawn Weaver. So we're going to have to learn all about that.
Wow.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Wow.
Anybody on our panel, like, have y'all been to One Flew South? Because I actually haven't.
I haven't either.
Yeah.
You know,
Anybody?
so Kitty, so you know who's one of my regulars, who's your homie, Misty.
Yes.
I
Misty.
saw Misty all the time.
More than
All
I
the
saw
time.
her before COVID. I swear, hand to God.
Oh yeah.
She's here. She said, hey. She's super psyched. That is awesome. No, Misty's a good friend of mine and a creative partner of mine, Misty Calcopen, and she travels for work all the time and is always through Atlanta, so she sees Jay more than I see her.
One of those for me.
Yeah.
Do you do boomerangs? Do you send bottle cocktails in the mail?
Right. I mean, with all the energy my little girl has, I maybe just need to, give her a mask and some gloves and stuff like that. Just have her run one to you, bro. Bouncing off the wall. No.
I
There
knew
we go.
you were the Incredibles.
That's awesome.
For sure.
Oh yeah, we
That's
have
a
Doug
dad
Fouts. Doug Fouts from one of your guests or regulars or friends or buddies from One Flew South. Doug.
Oh, what's up, Dougie?
Yeah, he's checking in. That's awesome.
That's my man right there.
Thanks, Doug. Thanks for
We
joining
have
us.
to make sure Doug gets a calendar.
Yeah, for sure. He needs the recipe and the calendar. So we'll have the recipe up on all of our social media, Doug. Anybody who's just joining us or wants to just keep in touch with Jay, because he's awesome. He is on Instagram at JayMadOnTheRocks.
Yeah.
He's also a guest on Sunday Whiskey Dads or a host on Whiskey Dads. Is that right?
Yeah.
So awesome.
It's 4 of us now. It's me, Matt out of Virginia, DC. It's Speedy out of Tennessee, and the man behind it all is Matt Carlson, who's in California.
Nice.
LA Matt, Hollywood Matt, as we call him.
Hollywood Matt.
For
So
sure.
what time is that on? Is are you guys doing that live or is that recorded?
That's on Sunday.
That's
So
on
it's
Sundays.
recorded, but it comes on Sunday at 12:30 for brunch.
Yeah. So everybody should check that out. And then tell us a little. We'll talk a little bit more about your experience. I'm curious. Well, we can get to One Flew South and next steps once we know what's opening, I suppose. But how did you come up with the drink? So what was your inspiration?
So again, like I was thinking about something that was more approachable. Like a lot of folks, when they say whiskey, a lot of people, like the majority of folks, just think whiskey and drinking it neat or on the rocks. It's like, no, whiskey's probably like one of the best spirits to have in a cocktail. I mean, it's so much flavor in the spirit. And vodka doesn't taste, well, no shade, but vodka tastes like whatever the heck you put vodka in. And so everything else has its own distinct flavor. But I really love whiskey, and I'm a whiskey boy. So I really wanted to try and come up with something that was going to be cool and groovy for folks to kind of introduce them to, or have them not be so afraid or be so intimidated by whiskey. And this is something that's cool, that's light. It looks good. It may look fruity. So for some people, they be like, man, that's a girly drink. As soon as you drink it, and especially with it being 1856 and at 100 proof, not girly at all. This is for people who like to drink real good cocktails. You taste the whiskey in it, you feel the whiskey in it, but it doesn't overpower you. It doesn't smack you around. And it makes you feel good having a nice little cocktail, and it works for most of the year for darn sure. Spring, summer, a little bit of fall, blueberries for sure.
I love that.
Mm-hmm. And it was just we're coming up with cocktails and change around the menu, because a lot of times at One Flew South we do change the menu kind of seasonally. So and when we do that, we change up, of course, the cocktails, and it's like a whole change across the board. So you all know how it is. Like all of a sudden you got to throw out all the old recipes and put the new recipes up in here. And I am not a young man, so it probably takes me about.
Have you tried the recipe with Georgia peaches?
Say again?
Rachel's here.
Have you tried this recipe with Georgia peaches instead of blueberries and strawberries?
Oh yeah, heck yeah, delicious.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes a little while for the recipe to stick in there, but yeah, after a while it's right there, and you just jam in the spot. I mean, we literally run through.
You're just cranking through it.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing for me to run through. Like if these are really, really going hot that day, like of course old fashions are probably one of the most popular cocktails, but the Nearest to Happiness is right behind it. So I mean, I can run through probably about a good 2 bottles of this easily.
Yay. So we have Rachel joining us from Boston. She's a good friend of mine. She's drinking it now. Hey, Rachel. Thanks for joining.
Hey, Rachel, how's it going?
Cheers. So my other question, I kind of wanted to open up to the group. The question of, I just love getting in there with these potentially polarizing mixology questions. Muddling. Everybody go.
Oh boy. One at a time.
Right. So that was the other part about it. I was like, man, why did I do that? But it's fast though. Because it gets you like a good 3 or 4 muddles. Like when you're doing fast and you're in a routine, you're good. And then on top of that, I shake the crap out of it. So it makes it a lot easier. And then you give and go. So it's not that bad.
Explain I'd love to see if we can all just kind of weigh in and explain to somebody who's a home bartender. So if you're at home, obviously. You have you have all the time in the world. It's like crafting anything. You can take your time, to work on a drink. But just to share with people who haven't worked as bartenders, muddling is something that usually takes, an extra step. And let's explain what's that?
So this is what you would call a muddle, and this is a serious muddle. This is like when you got some stuff to do right here. You know what I'm saying? So some people say sometimes when they see this sitting up at the bar or something like that, like, man, what the heck is that for? I'm like, it's for really, really bad tippers. But in the meantime, since I don't think any of you are bad tippers, I'm gonna use it just to either muddle up like some mint, of course, fruit, stuff like that to kind of bring out the real true essence of whatever the ingredient is that you're smashing in a sense, and just to have that in the cocktail. So this is really what you use. You have a muddle and do that for the lime, the mint, blueberries in this case, and so that kind of puts it in there and has it in the cocktail.
Okay, yeah, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to do a quick sound check. Can you guys hear me? Okay, I think.
Yeah.
I got a note from Gideon that he was having trouble hearing me, so that might be.
I can hear you just fine.
Okay, cool.
I don't know if everybody else can.
Keep me in the loop. I'm gonna.
I can hear you just fine.
Okay. So everybody else, I want to know, okay, so does anybody have like a quick overview of the muddler? Just I every time I should just sit down with my Imbibe book right before we go on, and I always forget. But just to give people a sense of like where the muddling practice came from. That's something that's old, right? That's something that is old, and it's like a pre-prohibition practice. Yeah. So I think that's important for people to understand. And there was a time when that was just part of the show of the bar, and it usually involved expressing liquid, either maybe liquid from citrus or usually oils. If you think about it, for like a mint julep, expressing oils from herbs and things like that over sugar. So, but I love it's also your backup weapon, right?
You ain't lying.
That's a great way to crack ice too. That's what I use mine for too.
Okay, yeah. So let's talk about that, because that was certainly part of the process, I think, in pre-prohibition bars, because they were working with really big blocks of ice that you had to be broken down. Xander, maybe you could speak to that a little bit, because at Drink, you guys work with those all the time. There's a whole station at the bar where Xander came up.
We wouldn't use that tool anything for ice at all. We have specific ice blades, saws, hammers, knives, and chisels. And we take probably these, they're 50-pound blocks, and we break them down to old-fashioned cube, and we cut them throughout an entire shift, and all 3 stations would use those cubes for our old fashioned. Every old fashioned got a single hand hewn ice cube.
Oh Lord!
Very, very, very.
You would run out of here so fast if you're in the damn airport. There's
Yeah.
And like we also had a capacity of like around 100 at most, but we make it throughout the slower days and then be more for other days. So like on a Saturday, you're not going to be making much ice blocks, but you have backup.
Yeah,
but,
that's very cool.
For example, if we're going to go into the muddler, like we used it for certain things, but a lot of things we didn't, because we had a belief that shaking the crap out of something would do a lot of the work you need to do.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
We would
especially if you have great ice.
Yeah, I don't want to interrupt, but I do want to
shake our dirty martini, which was interesting.
Oh, that is fascinating. Let's get back to that. I would love to hear more about that for people that would wonder why anyone would ever do that. But I want to ask Chastity, because I know you've been bartending. I think we were around the same school, and maybe Sailor as well. So let's talk about like before muddle drinks and then after, and Jay too. I don't know when you started really working behind the bar, but there was a moment, right? Like early 2000s when it was like no one had, no fresh juice anywhere, nothing. And then all of a sudden it was the mojito, right? Let's talk about it.
I have to say that I began muddling a cocktail at my very first bartending job.
Yeah,
because I was making, and no one, and mind you, no one was doing this at this time. This was back in 2004, I want to say. Is that right?
Yeah,
I think that's right. But I was making fresh watermelon martinis that I worked at, and I was muddling the watermelon. I would literally have people come to my bar just for this martini.
Yeah,
that's actually a technique that I took throughout my career for a long time before I even got to work at cocktail bars.
Yeah,
it's a technique that I've used throughout my entire career from the very beginning.
Amazing. So what that says to me though is that you just had a great sense of. I have another friend who would do that with when she was a baby bartender, Joy, and she would just like we talked about this, Chester. You do the same thing, like just squeezing the citrus when all we ever had was wedges. Like that sense to me that you had a palate that understood that this was like, so that's really cool. So you can see why people started doing that. But certainly it was I don't know. I feel like there was a moment before people understood how to juice and how to incorporate fresh juice, which is an understandable thing to not know how to do, right? But like before they figured that out, I know when I started working at Toro, which is the last place I worked there till 2012, but there was one bar manager, everything was muddled, and then he left, and then another bar manager came and was like, what are you doing? You can juice this, you can juice this, you can juice this.
Yes.
Coming out of a trend
to make it work.
Yeah. So, but I remember, has anybody ever had those moments, back in the day when we weren't quite so polite, I definitely had bartenders that would be like, all like streams of obscenities when they saw one mojito go out, because then it would be 900.
And there is the great debate over whether you should muddle or shake a mojito.
Yeah. Can you explain that to us? Because people might not know.
Well, I mean, I like both techniques. When you're muddling a mojito, you're pretty much muddling the mint to express the aromatics and get those oils and that minty fresh flavor that you like in your mojitos. But I think shaking works quite well too.
Yeah.
What do you all think?
Our belief was that if you muddle it, you can over muddle it and it can become bitter because you're actually over pressing the mint. So we muddle our mojitos, we just put the mint in with the ice, take the whole cocktail and double strain it, then re-garnish it with fresh mint on top. So you
like to re-strain it, huh? I just like to dump it.
I like to dump it too. But I love
the things out of my teeth though.
Let's go.
It does happen.
Here's the polarization, right?
Right.
There's also the mint in your teeth situation.
Exactly.
So over muddling, you're not supposed to rip the mint apart. You're supposed to just press it and twist to get the oil out. So your mint, if you're muddling properly, if you're muddling everything properly, you're not ripping anything apart. So it's still intact. So that you don't get little bits of it in your teeth, because I've witnessed that, not when I was the bartender, but girls turning around like
hey, Sex in the City's awesome.
I think that's hilarious. Like being a bartender and seeing somebody who's trying to act real cool and has mint in their teeth. I think that's fun. So,
it's
more power to you. Yeah, drink up.
I love it.
Hey Jay, I have a quick question for you. Can you please, can you tell me about Lillet and Uncle Nearest together, like why you think they both work so well together, those flavor profiles, because that's really your base flavors in this cocktail.
Yes. The reason why I think, because Lillet, the part about it is Lillet and Uncle Nearest, they both have the components where you will feel like they're heavy, but then also too the deep and rich flavors of the Lillet with the different herbs, with the different fruits, stuff like that, really kind of complements the whiskey. I think where it just makes it more approachable and more easier to sip. Those two together kind of, it's like it's like a New York sour. I mean, say for instance, since Lillet is like a fortified wine, it's like really you get all the components of a very well balanced cocktail. That's kind of how I look at it. Very well balanced cocktail. You get the sweet, you get the bitter, you get the heat from the whiskey. It's just a lot of flavors going on. The spices going on in the whiskey too, and a little spice in the Lillet. I think they just kind of complement one another. I'm all the way down with a balanced cocktail too. I mean, sometimes there are folks who like to have it really boozy, and I mean, it really depends on your palate. But sure. This is definitely from the boozy aspects, because you got wine and you got whiskey, and it's 100 proof. So I like it. Wine and whiskey kind of go together for me.
So Chastity asked about peaches, because obviously you're in the state of Georgia, and Georgia peach season is coming up. So would you? Yay. My question would be: can you just take your blueberry and swap that out for other berries, or is the blueberry okay? So you could swap it out for the peach and do this recipe. So as summer goes on, have your summer fruits, you can just swap them out for the blueberry.
Yeah. I would. Yeah.
And speaking of swapping, Rachel was asking about switching out sweet vermouth for the Lillet.
Oh,
right.
Yes. What do you think about that, Jay?
Different.
It's I don't think that would be an issue from kind of give you more of a. I mean, that's more Manhattan-y to me. I guess the fruit, it's not as much fruit to me. And
I think the sweet vermouth would be either.
So that's the only thing I'm looking at. But again, it would be.
Yeah, I think
it's easy. It's still complimentary. That's for darn sure.
Yeah, the only thing would be the bitterness. Right, it would make it. That might be a little bit more bitter, because usually vermouth has wormwood in it and a few other ingredients that might make it more bitter. But it might be fantastic. Like I think a light vermouth, like maybe an oily Pratt would be fine. Or
I think the Lillet is so delicate. It also lets the Uncle Nearest shine.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They complement. I mean, it's like it's like peaches and herb. It's like Ashford and Simpson. Donnie and Marie. They kind of go together. It works out really good.
Oh God! Only the old people in the room laughed at that. Nobody else knows who Donnie and Marie are, or Ashford and Simpson, for that matter.
So Jay, we got another favorite. Monica Hampton is here. You have some
What's
great.
Up, Monica?
She says, yeah, you were her favorite bartender when you were working at Simone's.
Wow. Yeah. So that's actually
tell us about your career.
That's way back. That's when I got back into. That's when I got in the game of bartending for real. I had done like quick stuff where I was working on like in a pool hall, whatever. But Simone's was a very nice restaurant, African American owned, and they had jazz in there. I think it was Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Oh,
and it's a real cool spot, and that's really where I kind of cut my teeth being behind the bar. I mean, because I had a 10-person bar, and then I had four bar tops. And so having to take care of that, it was on a Friday, Saturday night. I got my butt.
That bar was featured on one of Tyler Perry's movies, wasn't it?
Wow.
Simone, it might have been.
Yeah, I don't know. It was. I think it was Diary of a Mad Black Woman, actually.
Oh,
that was back in the day. Simone's was big shout out to my man Latif if he's watching. Like that's I really cut my teeth in that place with the teeth, and I mean it was. But that's really where I fell in love with kind of being behind the bar. I had a good time just talking and relating to people, and I was kind of like, this ain't too bad. Like I can do this stuff. So that's really where I started. Really got into the bar industry, was there. And then moved to a few other spots within Cincinnati. And then eventually in 2007, me and the wife packed up our bags and moved on down to ATL. So this is my second stint back in Atlanta. So been down here ever since.
Okay, you're Jay Craddock is here. Another Jay, 2 J's.
Oh yeah.
2 J's. And Fawn Thompson also. Fawn Thompson's in there.
Wow.
And Misty is here as well.
You know what I was so worried about? So the freaking draft is right now at 8:00.
I know.
So do not leave this. Just stay on your phone and then look at the TV. I was like, man, they got me going against the draft. I'm dead.
I don't know. How did that happen?
Well, we're about to wrap it up. So
word up.
You can give people time to go check that out. And Miss Victoria's in the house as well.
Hi, Victoria. And we had Kate on.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Always around.
Right there.
This was
Very
so
good.
awesome, you guys. This was super fun. And I hope everybody enjoyed our new platform. If you've been following what we've been doing online, we changed platforms so that we could reach a broader audience. So hopefully you guys liked it. This was super fun. Thank you so much, Jay.
This was fast. Crap.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jay.
This was fun.
Thank you all. I appreciate
Yes,
having the
Jordan, every
time to be
Thursday.
able to shoot the stuff with y'all and make some cocktails and talk about, life as a bartender and now as market manager with Uncle Lyrics. It all works out. What a path we've been on. Jeez, only been 15 years.
That's it. No big deal.
No big deal. No big deal.
Love it.
Thanks indeed. So
This
yeah,
was awesome.
All right. Well, this is awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Jay, and everybody else who tuned in. This has been so amazing, and we're super grateful for the support. So again, if you want to check out Jay, you can follow him at JMad on the Rocks on Instagram.
That's all together. JMAD on the Rock.
Yes. And then will you be back at One Flew South, or is that time will tell? Should we have you back on to explain?
No, I mean, for right now, as things go in the airport, I mean, I came down to just doing one shift.
Holding court one night,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
So, big shout out to my man,
Awesome.
Bilal, Delay, Jacinta, all my folks at One Flew South.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
everybody,
everybody.
remember to drink honorably and
Honorable.
enjoy your day.
My glass is empty. Drink on. By the way, I agree, Chastity. Blue is your color. That color is gorgeous
It's
on you.
amazing.
Color. Thank you, guys.
It is everything. Okay, we're gonna end this now and go watch whatever draft he was talking about. I don't know. Football, something, whatever.
I'll hang out, keep on drinking.